What's going on, YouTube? Got another review here of the Kershaw Tilt. This is a knife that I recently acquired in a trade, actually for a 0560 ZT 0560, along with some cash. But unfortunately, the trader, the guy I was dealing with, wanted the trade back due to some undisclosed reasons that I'm not going to say here. But anyway, so yeah, I haven't really had much time to use this knife or carry it due to the fact that I want to keep it in as good of condition as possible when I do return it to the original owner. But yeah, so anyway, this is, I don't know, this is obviously an impressions video. And when I was just thinking about the reasonings for doing knife videos, my main reason is for me to kind of have a reference back to the knives that I've owned, something that I can look back on, see how, I don't know, maybe my opinions have changed over time and whatnot. But the other reason is for you guys as my viewers, to be able to look at certain knives that you might be interested in acquiring down the road. And so usually, knives that are going to be available, maybe they're custom knives, but they're going to be made in the future. But the Kershaw Tilt apparently is one knife that won't be made anymore. So at least that's what I've been reading. So this was a limited run. They had a DLC version and then a stonewash version. So I think the stonewash version, they had about 500 offered out. Maybe a year ago is when they first came out, and then maybe even longer. And then they had a DLC one, which I think they had 250. So overall, 750 knives that were made out of the Kershaw factory in Oregon, and that's it, which is kind of sad because this is a really cool knife. I'll preface this by saying that this is not a knife for me. I'm not a particular fan of Wharncliffe. I'm not a particular fan of the looks of this knife. All the kind of alien angles. I mean, it's a very futuristic looking knife, and right there in hand it looks kind of cool actually, as I'm looking at the video screen. But again, overall, it's just not a knife for me. But that being said, I will still say that this is an awesome knife, and if you are a fan of the looks and you have the money to acquire a rare commodity, then this is a knife for you, because there are so many features on this knife, and the fit and finish on this knife are spectacular compared to a lot of knives that I own. So yeah, if you can acquire it for, I don't know, like asking prices typically are around 400, 450 maybe, due to the fact that they're discontinued, and they're high quality. I would encourage you to jump at the opportunity, because I would think the value may continue to go up, but again, just depending on your your personal flavor, yeah, this knife may or may not be for you. So again, for me, not my particular cup of tea, but again, it's a phenomenal knife. So when you look at it first blush, you've got a titanium frame lock, this kind of rectangular pocket clip. You've got carbon fiber, pretty thick carbon fiber scale, and then titanium liner, which is highly milled out. I don't know if you can see in there all the milling. I don't know about the lighting here. You can kind of see a little bit there. And then even there's pockets milled out of the titanium frame. So even on the frame lock side, you can see a little bit of the cutout or the milling on the frame lock. So they did a lot of milling in order to lighten up this knife. And then again, of course, you have this carbon fiber scale. Again, pretty thick, but all of these things help to lighten the knife up. On this side, on the blade, you've got what I believe is Sandvik steel. I've seen some documentation saying it's 420, but I'm pretty sure it's Sandvik steel on here. And then really the special part of this knife is the fact that it uses Vanex 75. So Böhler Uddeholm's Vanex 75 is a pretty exotic steel. It's one that I believe has been discontinued. They only advertise now on their website Vanex, which is their Vanex 35. So it definitely doesn't have nearly the same exotic composition that Vanex 75 has. Vanex 75 has a high dose of nitrogen inside the steel, as well as a high concentration of vanadium. So I think 9% vanadium, 2 point something percent of nitrogen in place of carbon. So what that allows is a very high corrosion resistance on this knife. And then with the vanadium, you get a very strong, very good wear resistance, as well as edge retention. So I'm not sure what the carbide's size on this, but I think they're pretty fine because apparently Vanex comes to a extremely sharp edge. I think the only other application that I've read online is they use Vanex for a lot of meat cutting machines. So again, with corrosion resistance and high sharpness, I think Vanex 75 is a pretty cool steel. So I haven't seen Vanex 75 on any other knives outside of the Tilt. So maybe a few customs out there that use Vanex. But anyway, so yeah, I mean, you look at this. I don't know who in Kershaw designed this knife, but it's like they put a ruler. They got a ruler, and then they just they just started going going to town with it. You can just see how the lines measure up. Everything is perfectly parallel. So the handle is parallel to this Wharncliffe blade right here, which is really, I don't know, I mean, geometrically it's pretty cool in terms of how all the lines come together. When you fold it down, everything just fits well in the handle. Again, material wise, you're talking about titanium. Titanium liner. I think even the spacers here are titanium. I think I saw a recent video or a recent forum post that some guy did some anodization on his Tilt, and he anodized the spacers, I think blue or bronze or something. So everything is highly customizable if you want to do that and go that route. Obviously, because of its collectibility, I think most people wouldn't do that. In addition, you've got tip up, tip down, right hand carry options, titanium clip, and then one of the other special things about this, obviously there's no over travel. A lot of these things are mentioned in a lot of reviews already, but I'm kind of just giving my take here. This is cut. This lock bar is cut in an angle this way, so it's impossible for you to actuate the lock and make it over travel. This is as far as it goes. So it's not quite a lock bar stabilizer. The bar can still travel down this way, but it cannot travel past this plane right here where the frame's at. So that's a pretty cool feature. I would think it's a pretty hard feature to be able to do. But again, this is all machine, so I don't know. Maybe, I mean, I'm sure you can do it pretty consistently, but it doesn't seem to be a practice that they've used on other knives. Inside the pivot mechanism, you've got the KVT system. So I think this knife came out at around the same time as the 0560 series from Zero Tolerance, obviously the same company, and so they both implemented the KVT system. One of the complaints from the guy I traded with was that he felt the KVT system on the ZT 0560 wasn't as smooth. And I don't know what that's about in terms of ZT's implementation of the KVT system, but I think I kind of have to agree with him. I don't know if it's any fault of the knife or the design. But this KVT system on the Tilt is one of the smoothest I mean, this is one of the smoothest deploying knives that I've ever felt. I said that recently about the Southern flipper, and I still hold to that. This one, this before the tilt, I think was one of the smoothest knives in terms of the implementation of the ball bearing system. Not IKBS, but the nylon race with the 7 or 8 ball bearings that are planted inside that nylon race. Most of you guys know what I'm talking about. So when it rolls on those bearings, this one is extremely smooth. Right here, you also have the John Grimsmo Norseman also running on a similar race system, and this one as well as a custom knife, or I guess maybe kind of a mid-tech since it's CNC machined. This one also is extremely smooth. You don't feel any grittiness whatsoever in this knife. The KVT, I'm sorry, the Kershaw Tilt is kind of, I mean, I'm not kind of, it's running the exact same thing, but I think the fact that it's a bulkier knife and it's got a bigger blade, I don't know, maybe you kind of expect it to be a little less smooth, but this one just glides. You really don't feel any resistance whatsoever. I mean, this one just drops into its frame so easily, and with the lightest flick, it just rolls and keeps rolling. This is just effortless. Flipping straight up right here, obviously on the camera angle, it doesn't look this way, but this is 90 degrees vertical to the table, and with the lightest little flick, it flicks up with authority. So the weight of the blade helps with the flipping, but as well, just the implementation of the KVT in this pivot system, it works really well. Lockup is like crazy solid, no vertical play, no side-to-side play whatsoever. Locks up with a single little stop pin right here. So this is kind of an older system, maybe tried and true system, but with a lot of knives using the thumb studs as blade stops or with the internal stop pin. A lot of new knives have been going that route. This one with the stop pin here seems to work just fine. Carry as well, in pocket it rides actually pretty thin, and tip down, this is actually probably a very comfortable tip down carry knife, one of the few out there that I've experienced. But tip up as well, I mean, you figure it carries about this deep in the pocket. So I like that. That's a good amount that's hanging out of the pocket right there. So you can pull it from the tip here and easily deploy. So that's a pretty cool, again, feature. Pocket clip is very sharp for sure. These edges right here, if this were my knife and if I were to use this knife, I'd probably round these down a little bit, because this can really catch your fingers and scratch you on your skin if you're not careful. Probably definitely put a gash in your paint on your car if this happened to brush against there. Overall, the knife, this is a 4-inch blade, so you get a very decent amount of blade steel. And then overall length is 9.5 inches. So it's a pretty long, pretty, stout knife as well. So reverse carry with the double choil, all grips are pretty much very comfortable. So that's the one thing with this knife that I'm realizing is that a lot of knives or companies will kind of talk about the ergonomics of the handle and how it feels in hand with all the different curves. I think about like Sniper Blade Works or something like that, and they have all these organic curves that supposedly make it more ergonomic, but straight up handles, it's extremely ergonomic already. It feels great. You can do kind of a pistol grip that you do on a Sniper Blade Works knife if you wanted to, and it's gonna work great. Again, reverse grip. You can grip all the way down or use these choils if you want. So kind of like the Sebenza with the straight hand grip. It's one of the most comfortable grips, in my opinion, on knives. So quick size comparison again. This is my custom Steve Kelly Collision. You got your Spyderco Southern flipper, tilt, John Grimsmo Norseman, and then the Sebenza 21. Tilt, I think, honestly, is, along with the Spyderco Southern, these two are probably the best production smoothest production folders out there. I still think the paramilitary is, is one of the greatest production knives out there. But in terms of just smoothness, fit and finish, the Southern and the Tilt, have to be some of the best that I've ever felt in all my days knife collecting. So yeah, again, if you have a chance to get a Tilt in your collection, I would say go for it. Again, if you like the look of this knife, then you'd be hard pressed to find a better production knife than this. For me, I kind of like the organic curves of the Southern flipper. Fits the hand better, to me. Usage of this knife, I really love this knife. So, I would still prefer Southern over a Tilt. But again, for collectability and usage purposes, if you like the look, then definitely go for it. All right, so that's my, I guess not really quick take, long take of the Kershaw Tilt. Thanks for watching, guys. Appreciate you guys watching the videos. Leave your comments down below. Let me know what you think, and I'll see you guys on the next vid. Thanks. Bye.